Welcome to the BC World. This is Byron. Today is April 3rd, 2017. It is a day after WrestleMania 33, which I thought was a good pay-per-view. I watched it with my boy DJ and my boy Hudson and a few other folks up in Crofton, Maryland. Had a great time. Very fun. A lot of good people, a lot of good energy in the room. I sat down immediately after the pay-per-view with DJ to record this podcast, to review the pay-per-view, to talk about what we would like to see on Raw and SmackDown following this pay-per-view. Just kind of got a flavor for where we think the state of the WWE is right now. I think you guys are going to enjoy listening to this. Let me know. What's up, man? You just watched WrestleMania 33. Talking to DJ.
Kind of disappointed, man. Kind of disappointed.
Well, it was a great show if you ask me. We're going to get into it in a second. We're going to step through the card, get reactions on each of the matches. But give me your overall take. Start off.
Overall grade, C+.
C or C+?
C+.
I thought this was one of the better ones in a couple years. It was better than last year.
I don't agree. And that might be a biased opinion because I was there last year. But I don't know, man. I wasn't really hyped. A lot of the matches I was looking forward to about midway through, I wasn't hyped.
I mean, I personally felt that overall you had a pretty solid card this time around. Maybe too many matches. Maybe some of them didn't quite live up to what they could have been. But overall, I thought you had a solid card. A little predictable with some of the outcomes, but still a little bit better than last year. I wasn't there, so I don't have that bias, but I felt like I got a lot of bang for my buck this year, although it was pretty long, stretching over 7 hours if you're including the pre-show.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good show. The Hardy Boys was definitely a pleasant surprise. Other than that,
I mean, you had the proposal. Kind of saw that coming.
I didn't want to see that.
You got the Taker retiring, which, I didn't quite see coming, but it wasn't a big surprise.
And everybody, the blogs talked about that, though. We knew that was coming. We knew the proposal was coming. We had a hunch that the Hardys were coming back, but it wasn't set in stone. So that was good. But once I realized that it was a ladder match, it was only right that the Hardys won. So,
yeah.
But that was still cool, though.
I mean, I will say there wasn't too many surprises, and when we walk through the matches, we can discuss that a little bit. But once the Hardy Boys were actually announced, I knew they were going to win it. So I wasn't really surprised by the outcome of any of these matches. I guess at the most, Orton going over kind of surprised me, but everything else I think I picked correctly. Bayley was a little surprising, but I also said in the middle of the match, once it got started, if it wasn't Sasha winning, I thought Bayley would win it and then probably end up losing the title. If not tomorrow. Then within the next 2 or 3 weeks.
I think tomorrow will be an exciting Raw. There's always somebody that's going to move up.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a title switch, title change of hands. Now that SmackDown is on Tuesday right behind Raw, should add to an interesting, aspect of the whole business now. So, I'm looking forward to that. But, next week, if they don't do right by us, I might, I might have a difference of opinion. So,
well, so let's jump to there real quick. What are we expecting, fresh off of WrestleMania, hot take, what are you expecting to see on Raw and SmackDown off of this?
What am I expecting or what I like to see?
Expecting and would like to see in terms of returns, in terms of title changes, in terms of changed storylines. What would you like to see coming off of this?
What I'm expecting is disappointment. What I would like to see is Finn Balor debuting. I would like to see
re-debuting.
Re-debuting. I would like to see Nakamura debuting on SmackDown because Raw has all the stars already.
Yeah.
I would like to see Sasha Banks get the title.
Yeah.
I'm happy that Naomi has the belt, and I would like her to keep that. And she's got to stay healthy. She's so athletic that, just like her and Seth Rollins, I mean, they're both athletic. Now, mind you, Seth Rollins' injuries are, I don't want to say freak accidents, but the way that they happen are
a little fluky.
I know, a lot of fluky.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fluky. So, but those are two of the most athletic people in the company. So, I would like to see them prosper.
Yeah, so, I don't know what I'm looking forward to. Coming off of this, I was a little surprised that we didn't really see Samoa Joe on the show. So I'd like to see what direction they take him coming off of this pay-per-view. I would also like to see Sasha get into something interesting. I think both of the women's divisions need a shake-up.
Yes.
So, if Charlotte goes off the scene for a while, I think Charlotte might be the best out of all of them, but she's been on for the last 2 years.
Best overall?
Of the women, yeah. She kind of has the heel character down solid. She puts on solid matches, but I feel like we can do with some time away from her.
Yes.
If Sasha comes on and she embraces the heel persona that she did so well in NXT, let her get a little feud going with Bayley. Maybe introduce some of the other women back into it. Summer Rae's been on the sideline for a while. Emma's been on the sideline for a while. You got Paige waiting in the wings. We don't know where they're going to take her after her little scandal. And I'd really like the SmackDown women's picture to come a little more clear. The match, well, it turned out okay. It was a little bit of a cluster. So I'm hoping they give Naomi somebody good to feud with. Give her a good storyline to really cement her as a solid champ, because that's what I felt is lacked on both of the scenes. Bayley, I'm glad to see that she retained. Hopefully they take her a little more seriously as champ and not pin her every week. And maybe the feud with Sasha will do that for her. Naomi, I thought Alexa was a good champ, but, I don't think that the storylines were well fleshed out. They kind of had her beefing with Becky, and then all of a sudden Mickie James is in it.
Yeah.
And that was never really clear, the lines there, so I'd like to see them straighten that out.
Yeah.
SmackDown titles weren't even defended on this pay-per-view, so hopefully they do something with that. I kind of thought the Hardys would go to SmackDown because that seemed to make sense to clear up that.
Right.
So we'll see.
We'll see. Well, that was the problem with the whole draft thing, and it was flawed from the beginning because of how they drafted.
Yeah.
And even when they were drafting, they said, SmackDown was the home for the newer and up-and-coming talent, but all the new and up-and-coming talent went to Raw.
Exactly.
I understand it's a ratings game, but at the same time, if that's your mantra, you got to stick to that. And now that the quality of NXT has kind of, watered down, it's a little discouraging.
That's kind of what I expected too. When we can do a whole show in the draft, but I was really excited for SmackDown. I thought they were going to get.
You know how ESPN redrafts? Mm-hmm. We might have to do that.
That's actually kind of what I was going to get to. I'm hoping they do some shuffling of the rosters around now that WrestleMania is done. I don't know if that happens, this week, but hopefully between now and SummerSlam. I guess last year the draft was probably in about, just before Battleground. It'd be about a year since the draft, so I'm hoping they do some shuffling and maybe get some people who haven't been fresh. Some new opponents, some new storylines. I think New Day could do going over to SmackDown. I think they can do to shuffle some of the women around, like put Charlotte on SmackDown and let her go back and forth with Naomi or something like that.
Yes.
And give the Raw women scene a new shakeup. There's been rumors that AJ's going to Raw. So that'd be interesting, even though hopefully they put somebody strong on SmackDown to kind of balance that out. Maybe a Sammy. But we'll see on that. Just hoping, I personally hope for a shakeup of talent so that they can, kind of shoehorn some new storylines in. But we'll see where that goes.
All
right. So let's talk about these matches a little bit.
Okay.
We didn't see the Neville versus Austin Aries, but Neville won.
Right.
I kind of predicted that.
Neville's doing a good job with the cruiserweight belt. He's bringing some meaning and some importance to it, which I thought lacked when it had. What's your boy's name from Baltimore?
They had Rich Swann.
Rich Swann, which I thought it. When he had it, I like Rich Swann, but I didn't think that he brought any type of awareness or any importance to the belt.
Yeah, I think I didn't see much of the Cruiserweight Classic, but it was well received. But Neville's an established name. The WWE Universe knows him. He's playing the character well. I didn't see the match, but I think it makes sense to have Neville retain. I think the feud with Austin Aries can afford to live on past WrestleMania. This is really the first time we're becoming acquainted with him.
Right.
I didn't see the match again, but he's not going to be hurt by the loss. Neville's a strong character. This storyline can go on. I imagine Aries will get the championship at some point.
Yeah,
so
payback. Payback.
That makes sense.
I think Neville is the epitome of a cruiserweight. What you think a cruiserweight should be, I think he epitomizes that. So it only makes sense for him to hold the belt for a little bit longer, bring some more awareness to it, and when the time is right, when it starts to peak and the fans start to get more interested in that section of the roster, that's only right that it changes hands, and then you start a feud, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I got no complaints. So Mojo Rawley won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale.
Got a problem with that?
Yeah, I didn't quite see that coming. I don't know where they're going to go with that from there. I thought it would have been Strowman, but I guess that probably would have been maybe a little too predictable. I guess I just don't see Rawley as that main event guy. So I don't know where they're going to end up taking that from there.
Right. Well, I mean, Baron Corbin won it last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't do shit with the opportunity. So, I mean, it's a chance to get your name out there. You're on the pre-card of WrestleMania, so maybe the fans see it. But other than that, it's... What are they really doing with that spot, with that opportunity?
See, I disagree. I know Corbin didn't quite have the breakout year, but I thought it made sense to have him have that. It gave him some credibility. And he was in an Intercontinental title match at WrestleMania. I know they put that on the pre-card, but he's done that. He's had opportunities for the WWE Championship. I guess I just don't see them giving Rawley those same chances.
Not at all.
And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they end up doing that, but I don't see them doing that anytime soon. So
I look at Baron Corbin as more main roster ready than Mojo Rawley.
Yeah.
In the fact that it fizzled out, it just kind of not worries me, but it's almost like, what's the point?
I mean, I can see Corbin winning the title, sometime this year. I think he'll definitely get his hands on the Intercontinental title at some point this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if at some point he walked away with the WWE Championship. I'd be extremely surprised to see Mojo Rawley get the WWE Championship anytime soon. Intercontinental maybe for a short time period.
Not yet. He's not ready.
But I can't see him definitely without the WWE Championship.
He's not over enough for that, man.
Let's move on past that one.
Let's go.
So Dean Ambrose, Baron Corbin. I saw a lot of this match. I knew Ambrose would go over, kind of for the same reason. I know I was just, putting Corbin over a little bit, but I don't think he's quite ready. And I think with my predictions for the later part of the card, I knew that you would still have a face on that title. I thought it was a solid match, nothing spectacular. Ambrose goes over. I didn't have any problems with it.
None at all.
All right, let's get past that one. I think that match speaks for itself. So the first match on the main card, AJ Styles, Shane McMahon. What'd you think?
Underwhelming. I, for one, appreciate what Shane McMahon brings, to the business. Huge Shane McMahon fan. From just having the courage and the charisma to go out there and wrestle when you're the boss's son, man. It takes a lot. You have big shoes to fill. And then what he does for the culture, I'm a big fan of the sneaker culture. What he does for that is huge, man. And the stuff that he is able to do at his age is amazing. The bumps that he takes, the spots that he takes, from a technical standpoint, it wasn't that bad, man. It wasn't a bad match from that standpoint. Just overall, just a little bit underwhelming. And then for it to be the first match, looking back now it makes sense, but at first it kind of threw me off. I'm like, already? Like, there's no build up to this?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. I think I appreciate the fact that Shane wants to come back and give back to the culture, but at the same time, I could do without a Shane match.
Yeah. I thought the match was fine for what it was.
Right.
Kind of what you expect from a Shane McMahon match. A lot of, high spots. And kind of what you expect from AJ Styles match. He got into his technical wrestling a little bit. You kind of saw the contrasting styles, and I thought they told a good story for what it was. But like many people said before the pay-per-view, it's kind of disappointing that AJ Styles didn't have, a real opponent.
Right.
He was the champion for the majority of the year. You would think that they could have built him a good storyline going into WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he didn't drop the belt until the Royal Rumble, and then he got to be an Elimination Chamber match. But I would have liked to see him be able to put on a match with somebody more equal to his talent. And maybe this speaks just to the dearth of talent that's on SmackDown right now. But no, I thought it would have been good to have him paired with somebody, a Finn Balor, a Shinsuke.
What is the deal? When will we see Finn Balor on the main roster? I know he's hurt.
I mean, he'll be back. He was a Universal Champion for that short period of time. It seems like he's healthy enough to come back now, but maybe they didn't have maybe they felt like they didn't have the storyline ready for him to come back before WrestleMania. I mean, I have no doubt that's one of the things that we're going to see tomorrow. But yeah,
If I don't see Finn Balor tomorrow, Vince McMahon has to run my fate. It's on site.
I got Vince dropping you though.
It's on site.
I got Vince dropping you.
He old now. He washed. It's on site.
I mean, so with this match, yeah, I'm glad AJ went over. I was going to be very upset if he didn't go over. It was fine for what it was. I preferred to see AJ paired up with somebody else in a real storyline.
Yeah.
And maybe this is a launching board to get him off of SmackDown, but
why get off of SmackDown? Build SmackDown up. You think about when SmackDown came into fruition, The Rock had it, and The Rock was smoking hot. You know what I'm saying? So, bring it back to, pardon me, make SmackDown great again.
Don't start that.
I'm for that. The blue hat, make SmackDown great again.
I'm of like mind. Like, I'm just echoing the rumors that have been out there about AJ moving to Raw. We talked about the draft a little bit earlier. I think the brand should be more equal. I would like to see some of these younger stars. I know AJ's not young, but some of these newer stars to the WWE, or just general some of the stars in the in the WWE on SmackDown, whether it's a Finn, a Sammy, a Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, these performers that are new to the WWE universe that people are excited to see. I would like to see them get a chance over on SmackDown. If I was drafting, and we'll get into this on a different podcast, I think it made sense to have Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins and maybe even Dean Ambrose on Raw, but let SmackDown be a little more fresh.
Yes.
Kind of build that talent up, so eventually when you shake it up, you can move those guys over to Raw, move these other guys over to SmackDown.
Yes.
And at that time they're built up a little bit more, but maybe that's just me.
It's the ratings that blurs that line.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's a business. But you have so much talent on the roster, especially now. There's never been this much talent available.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you need to take advantage of it.
Hopefully next year, right?
Yeah. It's a new year. This marks the new year. This is the reset of the season, I feel like.
Yeah. So, speaking of that, next match. Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, United States Championship. Owens goes over. What'd you think?
Good match. I think Chris Jericho is top 5 in the business, man.
All time?
Yes. What he does in the ring, what I feel like he does, for the locker room, unlimited intangibles. I feel like he brings something different to the game that, a lot of these newer guys kind of lack. It's a new generation. You got a lot of guys trying to capture that Attitude Era, trying to refurbish that whole moment in time. And it's like Jericho has stayed the same throughout his whole career, with the charisma, the one-liners, his technical ring abilities are second to none, man. I think he really brings something different to the game.
Yeah.
Something different from like a Triple H, who is a legend, who's still able to do it, who is amazing. but at the same time, who was able to still go out there night after night and still, put it down out there on the ring. And it's just something different, man. His mouthpiece, he always got something new to say, something new to bring to the ring. So, there's a lot of things that Jericho brings to the game that these new guys can really take from, and I think he's there for that,
Yeah, all respect to Chris Jericho. Back when, in 2000 when he debuted on, WWE, I wasn't the biggest fan of him, but, he's been doing this for, 20 years or so, and he's been consistent all the way throughout. He's been one of the more entertaining acts on Raw, so his charisma outside the ring, he can still go inside the ring. So all respect to him. I thought this match was good, not great.
Right.
It told the story that it needed to tell.
Right.
The end of the friendship, they've been building that up for a long time. So, that was one of the stories they spent more time on.
Overdue.
The Jericho going on tour soon. The outcome I thought was pretty predictable.
Right.
Finish was, I think, a little weird. That was actually, I think, something that was a theme of the night. You didn't get a lot of traditional finishes, a lot of different moves, kind of anticlimactic finishes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought this kind of was one of them.
Absolutely.
But, it told the story that it needed to tell. The in-ring action was fine. Owens goes over. It'll be interesting to see what they do with him moving forward. I can't imagine Jericho will be around much longer. Maybe get a rematch tomorrow, and I expect that he'll be gone. I just hope they don't rerun the Kevin Owens Sammy thing. That was supposed to be the last of the era back at Battleground, but they fought plenty of times since then.
Right.
I don't know who they put in front of Kevin next. He's coming off the Universal title run, which he still didn't get his rematch for. But now that he's U.S. champion, I don't know where he goes. If he goes back into a program with Roman, I don't know if that's the right choice. I can't see him going in with Samoa since they're kind of aligned.
Yeah.
We'll see what they do with it. I think Big E would be a good opponent for him. Give Big E a singles push.
It's time. As much as I hate to say it, it's time to separate the New Day.
I think you can do it without separating the New Day.
You can have them together, but let them go and do their own thing as well.
Yeah.
It's a trio, so you already have them doing multiple variations of a tag team, right? Mm-hmm. Which they've been doing all year. Okay, so let somebody go on a singles run. Let all three go on a singles run and still be a faction.
Yeah.
They're so over it. I don't think the fans will be mad either way.
Yeah, or, let Big E do the singles thing. I know Kofi's traditionally been the singles guy, but I would be mad at letting Big E get a singles run. If they want to protect Kevin, they can have them cheat to get over and get the strap off of him. And then, I don't know how long the Hardy Boys are going to be around, what kind of push they're going to give them.
I think they're here for the long haul, man. They were wrestling every night, TNA. They were holding the fort down. So it's...
But, I wouldn't be mad at seeing, if their run turns out to be flat, like the club's was, I wouldn't be mad with seeing Kofi and Xavier get the tag titles. But I don't know. Get into speculation. Let's move to the next match. So next match, women's title match: Bayley versus Charlotte Flair, Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, four-way elimination match for the WWE Women's Championship. Bayley wins by pinning Charlotte in the end, who had pinned Sasha just before, and all three of them had pinned Nia first. What'd you think?
I was a little disappointed that Sasha didn't leave with the belt and, have a WrestleMania moment. Not a huge Bayley fan. Don't know why. But overall, I think the match was a decent match. I think they did a really good job of showcasing Nia Jax's talent, what she brings to the table. Pleasantly surprised by that. I think the Sasha pinning was flat. They got to figure out the women's division, man. And they had it going well for a while, and I think with the brand split, it kind of got messed up a little bit. They gotta move Shorty from NXT. I'm sorry.
Asuka.
They gotta move Asuka up, man. They have to. Ember Moon can hold down NXT for now, build her up, let her get her bearings, but Asuka's got to move up.
Yeah, I think the women's divisions need direction. This match, I agree. The Sasha pinning was a little flat. I was hoping to see Sasha walk out with her WrestleMania moment. I thought she deserved it. She held down NXT. She helped to put on a good match last year. I was fine with Charlotte getting her moment last year. I kind of wanted to see Sasha go there. She helped carry the division this year, and I'm fine with Bayley. I think her character needs more developing.
Yeah.
It's a little straightforward. I think she can do better in terms of, I know she's trying to be this super face, but she can be better in terms of, staking her claim.
I'm done with the super face, the super heel shit, man. I feel like this era of wrestling has been dubbed the reality era, and in all reality, none of us are 100%.
Yeah.
So it's you got to blur the lines a little bit.
I mean, I don't disagree. I think she still has some rope to go with that. I mean, I think if there's a difference between the men and the women superstar, I think a woman can probably still get over being a super face. But I still think she needs to add some depth to the character. She's just too happy for everybody all the time.
Absolutely. And it's too bubblegum, man.
Yeah.
And the reason I say this is because, there's dirt sheets. We have the information is right there at our fingertips. So it's like, kayfabe is not really a thing anymore. So if you're going to blur the lines on some things, you got to blur the lines on everything, and you got to keep it one way.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to add some type of edge. I mean, it seems like that's what they were trying to get back to, Attitude Era, super edgy. Now you're putting a more realistic spin on that, which is fine. I'm totally cool with, but you got to keep it one way.
Yeah. So in the end, I thought the match was a little underwhelming, very emblematic of the division at the moment.
Yeah.
Kind of unorganized. Hopefully they find some direction coming out of Mania. Bayley hasn't been taken seriously as a champion this entire time. She goes over fairly clean here.
Yeah.
Maybe they have some momentum coming off of that. Maybe the Sasha heel turn's coming.
What happened to Becky Lynch's run?
We're going to get to that later on.
All right.
So the next match, you had the tag team title ladder match for the WWE Raw Tag Team Championship. Giles and Anderson coming as the champs, going against Sheamus and Cesaro and Big Cass and Enzo, with the surprise announcement of the Hardy Boys after the New Day tease. What'd you think of this one?
Loved it. Huge fan of the Hardy Boys growing up. Still got it. Honestly, before Hardy Boys were announced, thought Gallows and Anderson had it in the bag, man. I like Gallows and Anderson. I think they are a good representation of a tag team. Kind of the total package. Huge fans of Enzo and Cass. Although I do think they need to switch their gimmick up just a little bit. Stop letting Enzo get beat up all the time and Cass having to save him.
Yeah, it's a little formulaic.
Yes. But overall, I think the match was a great match. A lot of good spots. Exciting stuff, man. I mean, just having the Hardy Boys back home, you can't be mad at that.
I have mixed feelings about this match, honestly.
Okay.
I thought this match, of all of the matches, was very emblematic of the pay-per-view. I thought it was predictable.
Yes.
Once the Hardy Boys were announced to be in the match, I knew that they were going to go over.
Absolutely.
I don't have a big problem with that because I thought the Raw Tag Division needed some life.
Yes.
And usually I'm not a big fan of people coming from outside the company, first day back in, they're winning the title. I mean, the Hardy Boys are WWE legends. I thought the division needed a shakeup. I do like Gallows and Anderson as well. I don't think they're getting the fan response. I don't know if they're in the right slot at the moment. Maybe they're a team that needs to go to SmackDown to get some new life. Maybe team back up with AJ. Or maybe when Finn comes back, they can team up with him. I thought the match itself was fine. Some good spots there. You know, Jeff with the swan time off the tall chair onto Cesaro and Sheamus was good. The twist of fate off the ladder from Matt was cool.
Amazing spot. Amazing spot.
You know, a couple other good spots. Not that upset with the Hardys win, but again, just like most matches on the pay-per-view, predictable.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is one we're going to be talking about years later, except for the fact that the Hardy Boys returned. Yeah. I actually would have liked to see New Day. I mean, I was kind of upset with a little bit of the swerve there. Yeah. You can't be too upset with the Hardy Boys coming, but you know, New Day was in their gear. I said that when they first came out at the beginning of the show. When they came back out later on, you know, I heard the rumors that the Hardys would come back, so I was kind of expecting the Hardy return, but I was hoping that we'd get New Day in the match. I would have been mad at seeing another New Day run for at least a little bit, because again, I just think the tag team division needs that shot in the arm. So we'll see what the Hardy Boys do with them. But, you know. All right, next match. John Cena, Nikki Bella, Miz and Maurice. Cena and Bella go over, obviously. And then you get the after the match action.
I hated it. The match itself, I had higher expectations for the match. I'm a huge Miz fan. I love what he's doing with his character at the moment. I think he's the best heel in the company at the moment.
Next to Charlotte to me, second to Charlotte to me, but I can respect that.
I just feel like he didn't need to seek as much attention as he tried to do in the match. I think that if they would have just went out there and had a good match, you know, that would have came.
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to this match, especially after Tuesday. I'm sorry. You know, the promos that were cut on SmackDown were amazing until Nikki opened her mouth. But that's another story.
I mean, Maurice did get her back good later on. I think it was Talking Smack or maybe on some WWE behind the scenes, like, yeah, your boyfriend can't carry you in the match like he does on the mic. I thought that was good.
Right. But then, on the other hand, she can't wrestle, so. But, you know, I mean, it is what it is, man. Miz beat his ass the whole match, and we had a Super Cena moment.
I mean, that's what I thought was weird, because I know that we had Super Cena, but this just felt weird even for that. 'Cause, I mean, Miz dominated the match. For, you know, the match was 9 minutes long. Miz dominated the match for 6, 7 whole minutes. Like, all his offense. He didn't get the skull-crushing finale in, but he dominated the match. You know, he got thrown out. Cena gets the tag to Nikki, and then Nikki gets 2 moves in, and then next thing you know, they're getting synchronized finishers and a pinfall.
Yeah.
I felt it was a little rushed, and maybe it was because of the time constraints. You know, only 9 minutes. Just about the shortest match on the card, except for the 2 that came later on. You know, it felt a little anticlimactic to me. I know they just kind of wanted to get it out the way so that the proposal can happen. They wanted to have a platform for that, and clearly that's what this feud was building towards. You know, building that heat, having Miz and Maurice do the Total Bella spoof, and really hitting home that they're not engaged and all that good stuff. So I get that was the point of the match, but I was a little disappointed with how it unfolded.
So let's talk about it. The proposal, man. How do you feel about the proposal?
I'm happy for them. You know, I like John Cena personally. I don't know him, but he does a lot of good in the community.
You don't know John?
I don't know John. He don't return my phone calls. He don't return my tweets either. And you know, I don't feel much about it. You know, they've been in a relationship for a long time, so part of me is like, all right, you might as well just go ahead and get married.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I understood John's reasons for not wanting to get married.
Yeah.
So I didn't have too many mixed feelings about it. I mean, I didn't have too many emotions about it. I thought it's a little corny to propose at WrestleMania, and I wonder if that's their actual proposal, if there was something else that happened beforehand.
Can't be.
You know, clearly he knew it going in. The families were there.
Yeah.
Front row. Obviously, the producers knew about it, so I'm going to guess Nikki probably knew about it as well.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it was fine. I'm sure they'll play it up as a big WrestleMania moment in years to come.
I don't know, man. I'm not feeling it. I feel like Cena should have stood his ground, man. He should have stood his ground. I was with his rules. No kids, no marriage. But also, I don't think he's going to be around for too much longer, man. He's put in a lot of work for the company. He's done a lot of great things. So, it's only right. Let him enjoy his life.
Well, I mean, and that's kind of what I go towards. Like, if anybody deserves to be able to have that sort of WrestleMania moment as John Cena, if he's planning to marry Nikki, then I personally have no problem with John Cena saying, hey, let's make this into a WrestleMania moment, if that's how it went down. But yeah, I mean, his last two WrestleManias, the last three WrestleManias, when was the last time he headlined a WrestleMania? When he fought The Rock back, 5 WrestleManias ago.
Right.
But last year he was injured. The year before that he had Rusev for the U.S. title. I think John will keep making appearances, but I think his career is starting to wind down.
Absolutely.
So after that, we had Seth Rollins versus Triple H, non-sanctioned match, 25 minutes, longest match of the night. And I don't know what I thought about this match, honestly. I'm thinking about it even, 2 hours later, it's not really ringing many bells for me. I thought this match was predictable. I called about halfway through that Stephanie's going to go through the table. Triple H would get distracted, get put in the pedigree, pin 1, 2, 3. That was the exact finishing formation.
Right.
I thought I was going to be upset if Seth didn't go over, kind of with AJ. I don't see what Triple H would have gained from going over. I guess it makes sense. I don't know if this is the finish of that storyline, but it made sense for Seth to go over. Student beating the teacher, whatever it may be.
It should be the finish to the storyline, but Trips will always have the last say. And then how can he move on without addressing what happened?
Yeah. And maybe
we usually hear from Stephanie on Raw. She's gotta say something. I mean, there's multiple parties involved, so I feel like this has got to go on a little bit longer.
I don't want to get too far into the prediction game, but one of the rumors is that Kurt Angle will end up being the GM of Raw, and we know, back in the Attitude Era, we had this love triangle storyline.
Right.
So I wonder if that comes into play. If Kurt's going to be the new GM, come tomorrow.
I want to see Kurt in the ring, man.
I think that'll eventually happen. I wouldn't be surprised if you have this angle come about, and then you have no pun intended. Then you end up with the Kurt Angle Triple H match at SummerSlam or something like that.
Yeah.
We'll see. But, overall, this match was okay. Not the best I've seen from either one of them. Again, I think it just did its job.
Especially not for Mania.
Yeah. So after that, you had the WWE Championship match. Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt. Orton over. What'd you think?
Man, I'm waiting for them to give Bray the opportunity to break out.
Yeah.
He's been over. I feel like they missed the opportunity to have him break out when he was absolutely over, when he was cutting all the legendary promos and he had the crowd singing, "He's got the whole world." You know what I mean? There's so many elements to his gimmick and his character. But and I thought it was a little confusing when they brought Randy Orton into the whole ordeal, and you start losing members of the family, and it just got a little weird.
It's been a weird storyline from the beginning, and this match was only 10 minutes. I think a victim of having 13 matches on the card. For a match that's supposed to be for the biggest prize in the industry, to only get 10 minutes, and then we get to the Universal Championship match, it's only 4 minutes, so you get 15 minutes between your two biggest prizes.
Titles.
I'm kind of disappointed. I thought the match itself was fine, but I'm kind of disappointed that you have another one of the old standbys walking away with the championship. I thought, I knew Brock was walking out with the title. I would have liked to see Bray, a newer guy, continue to hold the title, have at least one world champion that's representing the newer school.
Right.
But Orton over, the match itself was fine. Hopefully they straighten out the storyline. I thought Orton being in the family was weird, and then the whole thing with AJ, he wins the right to have a match, and then he loses it somehow. It's just very bad storytelling if you listen, from my perspective.
Absolutely.
I thought the match was fine. It could have been taken to the next level had the storyline supporting it been stronger.
Right.
After that, we go into Brock Lesnar beating Goldberg for the Universal Championship, 4 minutes 45 seconds.
Okay, so we got the news that Goldberg did not take a bump leading up to this match. I'm thinking it's going to be a short match. It's going to be a squash match. And immediately out the gate, he gets 2 suplexes.
3 suplexes.
3. Loved it. Definitely was surprised. Was expecting Brock to win, but, I'm cool with the outcome.
Yeah.
Wish it was a little longer, but what really can I expect from, 2 guys at this point in their career?
So, yeah, again, I think this is another one where very WrestleMania 33, for lack of a better term. Predictable outcome. Told the story it needed to tell. Brock comes out clearly taking it more seriously than he did last time. Gets the offense early.
Yeah.
You get the no-sell from Goldberg. Comes back with the spears. Brock eventually goes over with a couple suplexes in the F5. This, to me, just is the problem that I have with WWE right now, though. They, for the longest of time, showed us that they value one thing, which is people who can get in the ring and go for a while. But now you're back-to-back. The matches for your 2 biggest titles last a total of 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I understand that Brock Lesnar and Goldberg draw numbers, but to me, you got to perform in the ring. If you're going to turn around and tell the younger guys you need to be able to perform in the ring, perform on the mic,
you got to lead by example.
Absolutely. The title match is 4 minutes and 45 seconds. And you can't go much longer because Goldberg can't go in the ring much longer than that. So, it is what it is. The match itself was fine.
Is he done?
I think we'll see him again.
In the ring or with the mic?
I don't know his contract situation. I think there's still some money in the storyline, for better or for worse. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get a rematch at Payback or whatever the next pay-per-view is. I would expect Brock to go over again and then have him prepare for Reigns at SummerSlam.
Okay.
Because I think you have a storyline built into there, which we'll get into later with, the 2 people that have beat Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Right.
I don't think you want to rush that feud, so you have Lesnar, Goldberg at the next pay-per-view. Let him go over Goldberg there again, and then you get Reigns at SummerSlam. And then you have, I think Reigns going full heel to beat Lesnar at that point. But I think we'll see Goldberg again.
I think we will. I don't know what they're going to do with them, but...
Or they'll feed him to Reigns.
I don't know, man. I'm tired of that, though. Bring Balor back.
So after that, we have another title match. This time the SmackDown Women's Title 6-Pack Challenge. Alexa Bliss coming in the champion, facing Mickie James, Becky Lynch, Carmella, Natalya, and Naomi. Naomi walks out with the title in her hometown.
Proud of Naomi.
It was a good match, 5 minutes for a 6-person match. Again, a little rushed.
Yeah.
Clearly another victim of the 13-match pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I'm just glad it got on the show. When we got down to 4 matches left, I was concerned that this match would get
cut, yeah.
Especially with the SmackDown title or WWE Championship match going on, and then the the Universal title match.
Yeah.
With Reigns and Undertaker still to go, and it was 11:30 already. I was afraid this was going to get cut. Glad it ended up on the show. I'm fine with Naomi walking out. I kind of expected another surprise entrant. So to me, my only problem with this match is I would have saved the Naomi return for WrestleMania rather than ruining it on SmackDown. I thought she would have got a bigger pop had she came out at WrestleMania, but since everybody knew she was going to be there, I thought the reaction was a little more subdued.
Yeah.
And I just don't see the reason for bringing her out at SmackDown if you're just going to bring her out at WrestleMania
as well. Yeah.
But
I mean, to set it up, you kind of throw it out there. I get where you're coming from, and I do agree.
Well, for me, it's just like Naomi, as much as I like her, is not the big headline draw. Like, people aren't going to come to see WrestleMania just because now Naomi's on the card. So that's a return that you could save to put on the actual pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Rather than give it away on free TV. It's not like they brought out Undertaker under surprise. Like, people are going to be there regardless. Let us have that surprise. Because there were no other real big, I guess the Hardy Boys, but there were really no other big surprises on the card.
Yeah.
I thought that's when they could have got it very easily.
Yeah.
And, so final match of the night. And the second longest match of the night, if you don't include the entrances and the exit, Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker. Reigns goes over. It's almost like a squash match. I know Undertaker got some offense in the middle, but dominated by Reigns.
Yeah.
Goes down with a super spear after kicking out of a couple spears. Emotional match. What do you think?
Not bad. Sad to see Taker go, man. A real legend in the game. But it was his time. I thought there were some good spots, and I think that Taker looked better than he has in the past, 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
As far as conditioning and just his well-being. But I always thought this match was unnecessary. I looked at it as Reigns fighting his drunk dad at the cookout. You know what I mean? Like it's an unnecessary fight. It's an unnecessary match. But what else do you do with Reigns at the moment?
Yeah, I think that was it. Undertaker is an old school guy. He wants to go off on his back. Reigns is the guy that they've been trying to get over for 3 years. I'm sure that Undertaker wanted to do the favors, protect the business, keep the business going.
Yeah.
So, I get that was the match. I thought this match was similar to other Undertaker matches in the past, in the recent past. Undertaker's not the same Undertaker.
No.
It wasn't a very great match technically, but it told a story. Sort of the passing of the torch. They had that kind of build up going on the Raws. This is my yard now.
Right.
Similar to what they did with Bray Wyatt, but of course Bray Wyatt lost.
Right.
Reigns gets it done. I think it builds in storylines for Brock Lesnar. Reigns and Brock Lesnar being the two guys that have beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Clearly WWE still trying to get Reigns over.
Yes.
With Brock also beating Undertaker, with Brock beating Goldberg, and Brock being this indomitable conqueror for the last couple of years. If him and Reigns can feud for the next year, and Reigns eventually goes over.
Yeah.
You establish him as this dominant guy. So I get that. The match didn't do much for me, but I get what it was supposed to do. So
a little underwhelming from a technical standpoint, but told the story. Felt like did a decent job of closing that chapter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always going to be a huge Taker fan, and I'm excited to see what happens next.
So Undertaker retiring. Well, it seems like he's retiring for good this time. He leaves the gloves and the jacket and the hat in the ring.
Yeah.
The show ends on him descending into the, descending into the stage. We knew he wasn't going to take the long walk.
Oh, no.
And, fan of him or not, he's had a fantastic career.
Yeah.
If he's gone for good, this really is the end of an era.
He gone. It's gotta be his last. He hung everything up, man. He left his gloves, his vest, his hat in the ring. He's hanging it up.
But Cena did that at SmackDown. He took the wristbands off and left them in the middle of the ring.
Cena's a thought, though. You gotta understand,
So yeah, if this is the end,
I think it's over for the dead man.
Great career for the Taker. Sad to see him go, but I'm glad. Well, in a sense, I'm glad because that slot will be opened up next year on WrestleMania.
Right.
I was kind of wrapping, summarizing, whatever the proper term is, this pay-per-view. I thought it was a fine WrestleMania. Like I said earlier, I liked it better than last year's WrestleMania.
Right.
I thought there were too many matches on the card. It was a very long pay-per-view. It's very predictable.
Yeah.
But all the matches I thought were solid. It did what it needed to do, which is a weird way to describe a WrestleMania. That sounds more like a way to talk about a payback.
No, I get it.
It does what it needs to do.
I get it.
But I understand everything that went on. My biggest beef with the pay-per-view is you had 5 wrestlers on there who have wrestled less than 5 matches in the past year.
Yeah. It's like show the people some love that want to be there,
Exactly. We keep waiting for WWE to move and fully embrace the newer guys, but they keep going back to the old standbys. It started with the Royal Rumble with Orton winning.
Yeah.
Last year Triple H won it.
Yeah.
The year before that, Cena won it. I think Batista won it the year before that. So, you haven't had a Royal Rumble winner that's somebody from the new school. Your 2 champions right now are old school WWE guys. I would like to see them embrace. I mean, obviously Reigns gets a push, and Rollins has had a push, and Ambrose has had a push.
Yeah.
And that's cool. But I'd like to see them embrace Finn more, AJ more, Kevin Owens more, Shinsuke when he comes up.
Yeah.
And Samoa Joe can get on the card.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that to happen. I think those guys have the backing of the fans, with Vince and the other powers that be need to get behind them a little bit more, trust them to carry the cards. But, it's fine for what it was. I don't know if they can get away with this type of show next year.
Nah, they gotta edge it up a little bit.
They gotta edge it up a little bit. I think SummerSlam needs to be a hit.
I think it will be, man. It's the second largest pay-per-view in the business. Last couple of years they've been doing it in New York. I think it needs to stay.
It's interesting in New York. I mean, I'm a fan of pay-per-views moving. I mean, if WrestleMania moves, I don't know why SummerSlam shouldn't move. But they've kind of flipped, because now WrestleMania has become the outdoor event, and SummerSlam is in a stadium. It's going to be in an arena. So that's interesting. I'll be tuned in. They've done a good job of branding the Raw WrestleMania as being something that must watch. I don't know if anything on this pay-per-view makes me want to watch that Raw, but it will be an interesting show nonetheless. Right. So I'll be tuned in.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel you.
So to wrap this up, let's do some predictions for Raw tomorrow and SmackDown on Tuesday. What you think? What do you think is going to happen? What would you like to see?
All right, well, who comes out first?
Who comes out first on Raw? Roman Reigns.
Okay.
I think Roman Reigns comes out, gets the boos, and then they start setting something up. I don't know if they go right into the Brock storyline. I just don't know where he goes. I think it makes sense for Reigns to come out first. Hopefully they have something set up. Or maybe they come out right off the bat with the Finn Balor return. I'm not sure which.
I cannot stress this enough. Finn Balor got to come to Raw, man. Raw needs a Demon King.
I mean, he was their first overall pick, if I remember correctly.
Exactly.
So, I mean, he's going to come back. It's just what they're going to have waiting for.
I would like to see Finn Balor Bray. I would also like to see Hardy Boys Bray.
All those people on Raw, Bray's on SmackDown.
You're right. I just feel like what they were doing at TNA kind of matches up with what Bray is doing in the E.
Yeah, I think tomorrow you see Reigns come out and talk a little bit about beating The Undertaker. Maybe they have him go full heel with that. I think you see maybe a women's title change, Sasha winning it, maybe with the heel turn. I think you see a new general manager. I'm not sure if that's going to be Kurt Angle or somebody else. Kevin Owens has to get into another feud. I'm thinking that actually might be where Finn fits in.
Okay.
To go for the United States title. Being that Kevin Owens is the one who capitalized on Finn getting injured in the first place.
Okay.
Part of me would like to see Finn go right back into the Universal title match, but I just don't see them putting Finn over Brock.
Build it up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be right away. Unless if they want to give Finn a monster push, he comes back and beats Brock. I don't see that happening, though.
Not tomorrow.
I think Brock's not going to lose until he loses to Reigns. But who knows? Maybe they give Finn a match at Payback, and I can't see him winning, but he puts up a good fight and loses. That could be a good way. But I think Finn goes into a program with Kevin Owens seems to make the most sense, or maybe Samoa Joe, since he has to be doing something, I guess.
I mean, they gotta throw Samoa Joe some bailout money because right now his storyline's not working. So
that's kind of what I see happening on Raw. I don't know what program the Hardy Boys go into. I don't know if they do. I mean, they're going to be on Raw since they're the champions. I don't know if they fight. I don't know if they go against the club. They'll be in the ex-champions, or if there's something new for them. But
I don't think they match up well with the club. We got to see. There's got to be some call-ups, right? So how about the Revival?
That could happen.
DIY.
That could happen as well. I mean, the Raw tag division is one that needs shaking up, I think, more than anything in the company, except for maybe the SmackDown tag division, which wasn't even defended. The only title in the company that weren't defended last night. Yeah, I mean, I'll be interested to see what they do with the Hardy Boys, whether it's a call-up, whether it is a program with the club, whether it's a program with the New Day.
I think the club is dead, man. They split them up amongst the brands.
I think there's still money there. I thought before Finn got hurt, we were building towards a storyline where you had. I thought they were all going to end up being the champions. I thought New Day would have dropped his titles to Gallows and Anderson,
right.
And they just came off of that storyline where they were in the middle of that storyline.
Right.
Finn clearly won the title at SummerSlam. AJ had beat John Cena at SummerSlam, and he was getting ready to get the titles. So I thought you were getting ready to see a program or storylines where they had taken over the WWE, which obviously fell apart with Finn Balor getting injured.
Yeah.
I think there's money to be had there. And I thought you were going to see this storyline where you had them dominating both rosters, which could have made a good storyline with the Shield at that point. I still think that could be in the cards.
Shield?
Yeah, Shield versus Club. I think that could still be in the cards.
Later down the line, yeah. That could be in the works.
Yeah, I don't know if it's worth. I don't know if Gallows or Anderson have much value split. So I think you have to keep them together, but I think you need to start booking them better.
Yeah.
I would like to see them. Well, they're heels and Finn's a face, but if Styles ends up on Raw or if they go up for SmackDown, if they start helping him, you know, I just don't know what I want to do with them. I don't want them doing too much of those. I want those guys to stand on their own. But I wouldn't mind seeing a dominant faction because we don't have any right now. And I think it makes it interesting when there's factions that are tough to beat.
Right.
Or shoot, maybe they go into the program with Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe and Triple H. You know, if Finn comes back, gets the club with them, they have that 3-on-3 match. Maybe that's what's in the cards.
Yeah, I mean, possibly. I mean, it's up in the air right now, in which usually leaving Mania, you kind of get a good idea of what's to come. Yeah. So, which is why I am excited for Raw tomorrow, but also ready to be disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where they're going with anything. The only thing I'm fairly certain of is Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns sometime down the line, probably at SummerSlam.
Is this the end of Goldberg?
Like I said earlier, I think Goldberg will be back for probably one more match. I think there's still money in a Lesnar-Goldberg rematch, but since their matches have lasted a total of 6 minutes at this point, I think maybe you see some type of Extreme Rules match in the feud. I think Lesnar continues to go over. I think that's the best build-up for him to fight Reigns. I don't know, maybe they do something with... I can't see them doing something with Kevin Owens and Goldberg, even though it makes sense that they're both former Universal Champions that lost.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a 3-way match. They want to make it longer and protect both of those guys. They do a 3-way match at Payback that Kevin Owens can kind of carry. But I hope he would drop the United States title before that, because when they keep putting the U.S. champion, the Intercontinental champion in these feuds for the bigger belts and then neglect the lower belts, maybe. So the audio cut out a little bit at the end, but that just about wrapped it up. Had a great time sitting down with DJ. Thanks again to him for agreeing to do this. Looking forward to having him on in the future on other wrestling podcasts, as well as to discuss other topics. He's a good dude, great friend of mine. Peace.